balls of steel. I wanted to open up this cast with talking about the map and about a lot of positions that we have in this matchup, but Curious doesn't give me the chance. This guy is going for a 6 pool.
Yeah, 6 pool, not 7, not 8, it's 6. The fastest possible pool, and the positions for this are good, but he is taking a big gamble. Puzzle with the pylon in the main really is starting to look like he's going to have quite the advantage here, but consider, though, if he goes gateway first, this actually can be a problem for him. Depends on how Curious wants to follow this off.
One of the things that you have to consider on this map, if you actually go for a 6-pull strategy, then you will... the problem is the following, the scouting. You need to know where exactly the Zerglings have to run to.
Yeah.
So if you start with a 6-pull, it's sometimes a little bit of a problem when you actually pull off the first drone in order to scout. So if you go for a 7-pull, it's much easier to pull this off, because you will lose mining time with the first drone. And with the 6-pull strategy, you want to have immediately 6 Zerglings, and this is exactly what he can't build. He can only build 4. He has to wait for the rest of the drones to actually get enough minerals so that he can start with additional 2 Zerglings, and here they are. 6 of them on the way, and the drone is going to scout the starting location. But is he going to scout in the main base, or is he only going to scout the open?
Yeah, that's the question, man. And he's not doing a drone pull with this. He's gonna be following this up, but you know, in Puzzle's main base, he hasn't started a forge. He
spots it. Nexus first. He goes for Nexus first.
And he's not scouting at all.
Oh my god. And what is Curious doing? Is he following it up with Zerglings? He spots it. The forge just being built. And now he can take down so many of these probes. This is great for Curious.
4 more lings.
We've seen him do this on so many maps. We've seen him do this on Entomb Valley. It never really worked. And here we go. Curious on the move with the Zerglings into the main base. Will Puzzle defend with his probes?
Well, he made it a gateway, but he's going to need a lot more than that. He's going to need to pull his probes, and Curious actually getting dropped! A huge mistake! He's going to lose 2 lings, and this is absolutely bonkers. I cannot believe he gave those lings away. I mean, he gave them away.
Oh, wow. This Curious, I can't believe it. He was in the perfect position, in such a great position. He could have maybe not killed his opponent, but done so much damage. But look at Puzzle's defense. He traps 2 Zerglings right away, and Curious, I would not have been surprised if he just jumps up and smashed his keyboard.
I wouldn't either. He's going to lose even another ling here.
Ouch.
Before the cannon is done. And he cancels the gas to the south on the assimilator. He knows he can't actually hold that one. He's got to use the one that's near the cannon.
21 probes against 12 drones. That's what we are looking at right now. Puzzle is now in an amazing position. The cannon secures him against the Zerglings, and as soon as he has units in the game, he can push out and take another base. Curious has to start his drones. He has to get an expansion if he doesn't go for some kind of Baneling attack.
Looks like he may go Banelings with the gas he's taken right now.
Right now, Curious is in such a great, in such a bad position.
And Puzzle actually with a mistake in his cannon placement, you have to make it towards one assimilator or the other, or else the lings will be able to attack both.
But the thing right now is, what is Curious going to do? He has the choice of being super aggressive with Banelings or of being super greedy. He has to take a risk.
Yeah.
And he has to take a huge turn. He's droning up right now. He's getting the Zerglings. He has the 50 gas that he would need for his Banelings.
Yeah, it looks like he may just go for speed and transition into a normal game.
But if he wants to transition into a normal game, speed doesn't make any sense. Then he should have just get all these minerals and try to go really high eco.
Well, he's got 100. There's the speed.
He's getting speed. I don't think that he's going to transition.
He could just make only speedlings and try to skip banelings entirely. I mean, there's already a cannon in place, and he's got, gateways going up, so trying to use banelings may not actually be useful with the wall that Puzzle has made.
He's still mining, but he's not mining a lot. He's only mining with 1 harvester, I think. He actually pulled out every one.
Yeah. So this is a dire position for Curious, but he's making 6 more lings here. He's definitely not going to transition. There's no way he's transitioning with making all these lings, but actually he does make a hatchery, so he delays his hatchery.
If he would try to go for one base play, he wouldn't have pulled out the drone. So yeah, the transition is something. He wants to have the speed to have a bit of map control. I'm not quite sure if that is the best decision here, because Puzzle at this point can go for whatever attack. How many gates does he actually have right now?
Just 3.
He has 3 gates, but even with this, he can pull up a lot of pressure if he gets the +1 attack upgrade as well.
The lings are going to run by here, but they don't have speed yet, and there's sentries, there's a cannon in play. This is not going to be a problem for Puzzle.
Puzzle should just start gateway pressure here. He needs to be careful against the Zerglings, but Curious just doesn't have the production.
He just can't. I mean, yeah, this is a situation where the Pros player wants to play safe, but there could put a little bit of pressure on. The concern obviously is the speed. How many Lings did Curious make? You know, that kind of question is a problem. Obviously, the Stalker is going to be taken out here. He's stuck out in the middle way too long. This shows the Ling speed, and actually the force here for Puzzle is going to have to be really calm and collected. He's going to lose a pylon, it looks like, for sure, but the Lings can't do much more than that.
Yeah, right now we have this attempt of Puzzle to establish another base. I really like after a 6 pull that you defended, especially when you defended so well that you only lost 1 pylon, a huge gateway attack. Because the production of the Zerg player will not be able to keep up. He will have to make the choice of either playing super greedy or being able to defend against your gateways. Either way, you will have the better production and the better position. But now Puzzle is just trying to use his advantage to get this expansion, which allows Curious to actually get back into the game.
Yeah, very true. And Curious, in fact, almost losing his Overlord and then actually misplaced it for just a second. Curious also using his Lings well at this point. He made a lot of them, wasn't able to attack with them, so he's going at the rocks, which is quite helpful, especially on this map.
The thing is that what we talked about earlier, in a standard game, the Zerg player has to make the choice if he wants to use Zerglings to take down the rocks or if he wants to drone up. Lava are important in the early stages, so you either build the third where we have the rocks in position, or you just try to take another position which is harder to defend.
Or, you know, the other, weird option that some people do is to go for the hatch next to the rocks and then kill the rocks later.
It's not too weird. I actually like it, because you have the access to like 4 mineral patches, then you kill the rocks, and then you establish another hatch. So you have 2 hatches. One is being used as the macro hatch, the other one for the mining. I really like this a lot. But also another problem that you have with a third as a Zerg player is, especially with the positions that we see for Curious and Puzzle, if the Protoss player walks up the ramp at the left side of the third base, then he can use 3 force fields to force field between the rocks that we have and the natural, sorry, not the natural, the expansion. So suddenly there's a 3 force field wall. The Zerg player can't move around it, and the Protoss player can attack the hatch that is completely defenseless. So that's a very, very dangerous spot for Zerg, and Curious has to pay attention to what exactly Puzzle is going to do, and if he moves out, he needs to make sure that he's intercepting.
Oh, I like this by Curious. He actually baits out so many force fields and gets away with most of his Lings. I'm not sure why Puzzle thought that was the right choice, because obviously the Lings could just go around the other side. A ton of wasted energy there on those force fields. Infestation pick coming up for Curious, who even though he has killed the rocks, has not made his 3rd hatchery there. He's making a macro hatch right now in his main. Oh, these Lings are so valuable. He's done so much with them.
He can actually run into the main base.
And he will. He's going to scout the tech.
He wants to know what's going on, because he knows that there's a cannon, so he can't do too much damage. And he actually kills, if he kills the pylon, that will actually be awesome.
Unpowers the the Twilight Council.
Immediately Puzzle with a double pylon. Yeah, the Lings are not able to force another cancel
as well, on that Twilight Council. So Curious's Lings are the most valuable Lings.
And now we have the expansion for Curious. He's going for the Mutalisk, for the Spire as well, so he can't start Mutalisk, but he has his Infestation bit. 3rd base coming up for Puzzle too. And of course Curious still playing the catch-up game, but he already has the same Harvester count. He's on 51 to 52. Not able to get ahead of his opponent just yet, but...
And another concern is the 3rd base timings for Curious, because Curious is taking the 3rd. He's actually going to double expand, but his 3rd base is hitting around the same time as Puzzle's. And as a Zerg player, that's always uncomfortable. 16 drones on the way as the robotic support bay is added.
Another big problem for Curious is, of course, the upgrade advantage that Puzzle currently has. He's already going for the +2 attack timing. We have him with Blink, robotic spay, the entire tech. Just everything is a little bit faster for Puzzle. And if the Protoss player doesn't make any huge mistakes, he will be able to man up a really, really big attack and pull this off. And I can't believe that we are actually in this position just because Curious didn't pay attention to his Zerglings in the early game. He wouldn't have won the game immediately because there were so many probes for Puzzle that would have helped him to defend, but he would have been in a much better position. Curious, that is, of course.
This cannon is going to be cancelled, and 11 Mutas on the way. He's not using the Spire for Colossus defense. Of course, it's going to be for some Mutalisk pressure. At these positions, it's going to be quite strong on this map.
It's in general a very good map for Mutalisks because you can bounce between the 3 bases. There's a lot of dead space everywhere where you can just save your Mutalisk as soon as the Protoss player moves in. But Puzzle has Blink ready, so that's something that of course we have to keep in mind here. The Mutalisks are going to hit though. They're trying to take down the pylon, doing a little bit of damage, and the bouncing kills a few probes too. 2 of them.
Yeah. And he's actually going to get a Stalker as well, but several Mutas dying.
Yeah, he loses Mutalists here, and this is not a great trade because you're limited by the gas, and the Mutalists are more expensive when it comes down to the gas. The Zergling's still in position, by the way, at the bottom left of the map, so at this point, as soon as Puzzle moves into his main to defend against the Mutalists, the Zerglings will have another shot.
Yeah, he's got to keep the sentries and stalkers nearby, and he's actually going for another pylon. Gotta be, you know, one pylon for a Muta. Oh, well, if he doesn't target Muta, that was close.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Curious here that he's not able to take down the pylon. The Zergling's doing exactly what I mentioned earlier, trying to run bin at the third.
That's exactly what his plan was. He was like, well, I'm going to draw him into main, then attack with the Lings, but he didn't fall for it. And this is exactly why Curious was not able to do too much damage here. Now, the position and upgrades and the unit composition is great for Puzzle right now, but Curious is ahead in supply, and he's got that fourth base up now. His drones are getting over there, and Curious can actually start his Infestors pretty soon.
With the Curious committing heavily to the Mutalisk, I would actually love him to see another base somewhere on the map hidden. That is something that would definitely help him a little bit. What doesn't help him is this Observer in position. That helps Puzzle, and it's really significant. But now the Mutalisk trying to focus down those sentries.
Beautiful control by Puzzle. Oh, wow. That was actually, he was like, well, I'm going to actually send everything at one place, and Puzzle was like, no.
And the high ground was, of course, really well used by Curious because Puzzle didn't have vision. Yes. He had no idea where exactly the Mutalisk would emerge next, and that was really well done. But our Protoss player now with exactly the right choices in this situation. He's going for the Templar Archive, and he's going for Storm. Therefore, he has an Area of Effect spell that will do a lot of damage to the Zerglings and the Mutalisks.
He's got +3 finishing up, while Curious has no Carapace upgrades whatsoever. He's got +2 about to finish for his Ling attack, but the Lings are going to die so fast. Like, oh my god.
Curious is ahead now in overall supply, something that we of course want to point out here as well. And he is going for the Baneling Nest. He's getting Spine Crawlers, Spore Crawlers, still harassing with those Mutalisks.
He saw the Templar and he got out of there so fast.
And here we go. The expansion that I mentioned earlier, hiding it at the bottom right because he knows that this might end up to be a base race.
Yeah, it's so smart. It's always a great place you can run away to. You just come back into the main, and even though there are cannons here, he just flies through, taking out so many probes. Now he finds himself a little bit trapped, though.
That is still worth it. He's doing a good job here. He wants to get rid of the cannons so that he can later on attack them again. And here we have, highlighted by Legends, the workers killed 19 already, and 7 additional Mutalisks. He really commits a lot to them. He doesn't get any additional upgrades for them, though.
He wants Puzzle to actually just move out and say, I want to kill you, and so he can use the Mutalisk to trade. And the Mutalisk count now up to 22, which will be 27.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love how map-aware Puzzle is about these Lings.
Interesting. Puzzle going straight for the Stargate here, and this could have several reasons. This would just be him preparing for a possible transition from Curious on Hive Tech, because our Zerg just started with Hive. But on the other hand, we could actually see Phoenixes with the Anion Pulse Crystals, which is a great response to a mass Mutalisk play if you have the resources.
Yeah, and if the map is big enough, and I think that this is one of these situations where Anion Pulse Crystals could make sense. It's pretty rare these days, but it is an option. Very viable for Puzzle. And if he does go for the Fleet Beacon, obviously that's not going to be useful right away, but at the same time, he is kind of timing this out with the Hive Tech. Oh, and these Mutas are going to make this Nexus cancel so fast.
Yeah, there's the Fleet Beacon, most likely for the Mothership, but let's find out what exactly he's going to do. If he really wants to have Phoenixes against the Mutalisk, he needs more than only one Stargate.
Banelings are part of the composition for Curious here, which is really interesting. He's almost building a Zerg versus Terran composition on this match.
And this is now a really uncomfortable game for Puzzle. You are never really feeling safe when you are up against a Zerg player who uses Mutalisks and Zerglings for run-bys and for this base trades. At the bottom right, the base for Curious is ready, and he's not mining gas, to say. He has the extractors, but he doesn't mine gas. And this is one of the reasons why I'm actually a huge fan of massive gateway attacks in this kind of scenario where the Zerg player starts off with a 6th pool that fails, because you can end the game early or at least get even farther ahead in the match. Puzzle decides to go for the macro game, and there's still the option of taking Curious down. It's not like he has lost the game, but still, this is a position where Curious is getting more and more comfortable as the game goes along.
Very true. I want to mention, after this attack, which is actually a great trade for Curious, that Storm turns him around, but the Mothership is not going to be useful for Broodlords necessarily until Curious makes those, but it could also be used in the base trade scenario for Recall, for example. That's something that I think is really important on a map of this size. He just really wants to make these mutas work, and if he loses them with the resources he has, that's okay. He wants to switch into Broodlords anyways, but I love how he's just continuing to bounce in there and try to do damage. If he sees the cans, if he sees the Stalkers or Storms, he gets out. Going to go for Robotic Support Bait here. He can get that. He's got enough mutas. He's going to have to come back to do it. Losing one muta here is totally fine.
But he buys himself so much time, as you already said. With the Corruptors now in the picture and the Greater Spire done, he can go for double upgrades. He can go for the Broodlords immediately. We have Banelings being set up. We have 5 bases now for Curious. And here comes Puzzle with the Mothership, with the Warp Prism speed. The Warp Prism is being built. He's going for a second robotics facility. He has the 4 bases to pull it off. But wow, that was close.
That was a coincidence, man. That's why it's important to have that Watchtower.
Yeah.
Puzzle, though, is really got the scary force around the map that Curious is going to have to be afraid of, because it's got so many storms in it that even though it's small, he cannot actually fight that very easily since he doesn't have any roaches, for example. He's only relying on Banelings and Lings and off creep. That's not going to be able to fight this army with good Blink, Micro, and Storms.
Another base being built by Curious now. He really tries to hide those bases across the map. They are scattered across Tal'Darim Altar. Now we have the Broodlords coming into the game, and of course, guys, this is map number 3. Everything is on the line here. Nice storms by Puzzle. Not doing too much, but forcing these Mutalisks back, and the Stalkers giving chase a little bit. Of course, not blinking forward. He knows about the Banelings, and you don't want to blink into Banelings.
No, you don't want to do that, that's for sure. I love that Puzzle is confident enough to move around with these small armies with storm support to actually fight, while leaving most of his Stalkers at home for blink defense. Now he's kind of getting everything together like he wants to attack. Another hidden base is going up for Curious on the right side of the map. The Broodlord count is at 7, but the Mothership is ready. The energy count on that right now at 85, so you will have 1 Vortex available if the fight happens right now, which it looks like it might. The Broodlord is starting to siege up at the natural.
And he saw them. He has the Observer in position. He knows what's coming. He knows where exactly Curious positioned his army. And now is the Mothership going in there. We have 3 Archons. That's all he's got. But he has Storms as well.
Make the Vortex kind of an awkward choice, because if you get the Banelings in the Vortex, they may be able to save the Broodlords, but the Broodlords are not actually in a position where they can be Vortex anyways. They're actually going to be able to bounce between the natural, a Puzzle, and then back into safety.
Army supply 140 against 124 in favor of Puzzle. Now moving in again, no Vortex just yet, waiting, trying to buy this time. But there's so many bases for Curious. Puzzle is on 4 bases against 7 now, but he has units at the 3rd base, at the 4th, sorry, warped in by the Warp Prism, and the Zealots are going to take down this hatch.
Meanwhile, then he warps more into the main, decides to cancel as the Mutas come to the rescue, but now the Mutas are out of position. Will Puzzle decide to go? There's Spinecrawlers here, but the Colossi can begin to pick away at them, and that's exactly what he does.
There are so many, though, and we still have Corruptors. There are 2 of them, not too many. Won't be able to take down the Colossi, but still he can reproduce them. And now, oh, nice feedback on one of those Infestors. Needs to be a little more careful.
Oh, nice feedbacks.
Loses 1 against the Broodlords. This is going to be so tense, Wolf. Both of them here really like a little bit of a stalemate. Neither one of them wants to move in. Neural Parasite is being researched now for Curious. A good choice here against the Mothership. We've seen in the WCS career already a few Neural Parasites against Motherships. Worked out very well. More Archons now for Puzzle.
Yeah, he's got Zealots at the bottom of the map that will not spot this hatchery just yet, but if he decides to go in there, he could take it out, and he is going to do just that.
Another expansion coming up for Puzzle now. Neural Parasite is halfway done. Dark Shrine being started for Puzzle here. And the Mutalisk are going to work in the main base, taking down pile number 1, pile number 2, spotting everything, trying to take down those 2 that power a lot of gateways, and while those Stalkers are a bit out of luck, Puzzle warps them in to die.
Yeah, he certainly does. The Mutas are actually not turning around. He's continuing the attack. It's a small group of Mutas, but it's big enough.
Oh, the Atosis pylon is going to die, and boom. Oh, only powering 4 gates, okay.
Was powering the Dark Shrine as well. Dark Shrine will continue to build regardless, and a second attack with the Mutas at the 3rd base is actually not going to be very successful this time.
The Infestor count now is getting up to 7, and here come the Broodlords again. Curious is just being a pain in the ass right now. He is everywhere. He has Broodlords in position to lay siege to the natural, at the same time the Mutalists that are now not being watched. He's just throwing them away, opening up supply.
The irony here is that there's thousands of people tuned into this watching those Mutas, but Curious is not.
Well, he doesn't really need them anymore. Exactly. I think this was actually a conscious decision. Him just saying, okay, well, they served their purpose. Yeah. They took down so many probes, pylons as well, but right now I need something different. And I love the Nidus network.
We'll see how he gets used here. The Baneling is always underneath the Broodlords. He says, Vortex 1, you get them all.
Yeah, and he's also just signaling, if you blink in with your Stalkers, have fun with that. That's going to be a nice party.
And the Broodlord's just zoning here. This is a situation in which the Tempest would be quite nice for the Protoss.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, Curious actually going to go back into the natural. There's very little mining going on here, but he will deny even more, and this forces Puzzle to react. He can't actually just allow this to happen.
And the situation that Puzzle uses is just a high and low ground, even with the Vortex. There comes the Mothership, tries to Vortex, but the thing is the Archons just need so much time to actually
knows it, and he gets double Vortex!
Oh my god, he Vortexes everything, the Mothership without energy, and this is what Puzzle was afraid of. Curious was waiting for this. He takes down the natural, and now suddenly the Zerg player is on the move.
Oh, this is not good. The Banelings just roll, and he forces him to blink back, picks off some Archons here. He can storm the Broodlings all he wants, but that's not going to help against the things that produce them.
And suddenly Curious is in a better position. He's just edging forward with his army. There is no threat being Vortexed again, so now he can use those Broodlords. Great position here. Really well done. Such a nice move with Infestor.
Yeah. Curious, man, he's just bullying Puzzle. You can cut him off from his main base. With all the Spine Crawlers he's got across the map, as well as a Nidus, he can use a Nidus network to return back to his Spine Crawlers.
Curious is actually lacking gas, and I can't actually know. I don't know why, because he has another base where he's not mining gas at all at the bottom of the map, and now suddenly Puzzle discovered that there is a hidden base to the bottom right. He sends over Zealots, but the Spine Crawlers, they are able to take them out. But why not take the gas at the base to the left?
Yeah, that is a little bit shocking. Another Ling Run by is going to be sent, but there's enough to defend. Puzzle's just losing so much production, though.
Yeah.
He's going to lose all of these gateways.
He's supply blocked.
Yeah, and oftentimes in this matchup, it's not really that useful to remax. You just kill your opponent with that one big push, which is what Puzzle's going for now. But he's going to want to make those gateways again with, the gateway production. That's where you use your Zealots for to kill hatcheries, for example, across the map.
Puzzle knows that it's really dangerous for him to actually engage the main army of Curious. He tries to go for a little bit of a run by to force him out of position, but with all those Spine Crawlers, it's really hard for him to pull it off. Now the Mothership has actually the energy now for the Vortex again.
And the Zealots actually break through the Spine Crawler, so Curious is going to lose mining here. Nidus is on the way in the main base. Now this means he can actually use the Nidus defensively and offensively, because he can use the Nidus to put Infestors in the main as well as Banelings, attack there, and then come back to defend the Spine Crawlers.
The entire army is at the bottom right. He can just send some Zerglings in. He actually uses a second Nidus at the bottom left. He can bounce between all those bases.
Yep.
Look at this, he's in the main base, he has the Infestors, and he's using the Infestor Terrans to take down the last production for Puzzle.
But he really needs to do this because his worker count is getting quite low and he's not really mining anymore. So he absolutely does need to do damage here. Puzzle still has the army, so if he uses all of his Infestor energy here, this could be a concern.
DTs were warped in but fungled immediately, and they died. Now Puzzle has to rebuild his gateways, which is exactly what he does. Most of the production is dying here.
He considered sending a bunch more Infestors into that main base, decides not to after he sees that the army was heading towards him.
And now they are at the bottom left. Yep. Infestors at the bottom left, using the high and low ground. They will drop so many Infestor Terrans. Boom!
This is a problem for Puzzle. He's going to start losing more and more mining here. Storm on the Infestor Terrans. He will actually be able to save this Nexus with the help of the cannons as well. And this is actually a lot of energy lost. The Mothership, again, slightly vulnerable. He's got to make sure to keep that with his army. He cannot afford to get knurled again.
Resources lost are similar for both of them. Puzzle lost 2,000 additional resources. What a great game to finish this series. What a great third match between Puzzle and Curious here at the WCS Korea. A great match. And at the bottom of the map, we still have this base for Curious that he does not use properly. I feel like he forgot about it.
You know what's so scary, Kelder, that we didn't even think about? With 19 banners on the map, he did lose a lot of them, but what if in the future, when he knurls that Mothership, instead of using a Vortex, he recalls the Banelings to the Mothership?
That would actually be pretty funny.
That could be insane. By the way, Stargate transition here, 4 of them,
yes.
In fact.
4 Stargates. The base at the bottom, I cannot wrap my hand around the fact that Curious in the entire match didn't really use it properly. Now he might lose it. Puzzle is on the way, on the move. And he's is lacking income a little bit.
Yeah, his gas, you're so right in that he didn't bank it properly. Now he's only got 7 Corruptors on the map, and that's going to make the transition, whether it's Void Rays or Carriers, it's likely to be Carriers, but either way, whichever one he chooses is going to be that much harder to deal with. While Curious is maxed out, he can't switch.
But if he goes for Carriers, he has a problem with his minerals. He only has 1,200s, and Carriers are expensive, and then you have to pay for the Inceptors as well.
And he's actually, if he takes out this Nidus network, these Infestors are not going to be able to come back to defend. And then even if they do come back, I mean, it's too late now. He's got the surround on the Nidus.
He's happy to kill the main base now, and he does. Another Cybernetics is currently building to the top left. We have Curious, Ruffle stomping everything in the main base of his opponent. This Broodlord army is just so scary. There are 17 of them, 23 Infestors and 13 Corruptors right now. Both of them being at 200 supply, and Puzzle seems to decide to go for the Void Rays instead of the Carriers, which I like a lot for the reasons mentioned.
Yeah, you mentioned the minerals, and also with this, he's going to have a very mobile force. Void Rays are a lot faster, and they kill bases so quick, especially once they get charged. And Puzzle has killed a lot of the drones already. He's at 43 probes to 31 harvesters.
But the story of this game is going to be the Infestors. Will Puzzle be able to kill the Infestors? He needs to. There's so many of them. And with a lot of energy being banked up, Bundles and Infestor Terrans are going to be crucial. He has those Archons and, of course, the Storms and the Colossi to take down the Infestor Terrans. But the question is, how good will the unit control of Curious be in the next game?
Yeah. By the way,
the next fight.
The Mothership is being used at the last mining base of Puzzle for recall potential. He's not got it out in the middle of the map, and the bases are just being systematically one by one taken out by both players. Puzzle going for the main base now. Curious has already done a lot of damage, and his opponent has just hidden these Void Rays. You're so right. It's all going to be about the fungals.
Oh, this is such a tense game, Wolf. We need to talk to Blizzard. I want to have this Joker for the WCS that we talked about. I want to make this a best of 5 series.
Yeah, well, that would be pretty sick.
The Infestors die. Look at this. He lost a lot of the Infestors suddenly. That
they all just popped out at the worst possible moment there. But he still has 23. All of this larva in the main base, 35 larva, is going to be taken out without use. There's nothing he can do about it. He doesn't want to spawn units here because he knows they'll just die immediately.
The army supply, 140 against 138. Now Curious on the move to the bottom left.
Maybe it's time for a recall.
This is exactly where all those Void Rays are. And yes, you're right. He needs that recall. That Mothership is so crucial in this play.
Yeah, he's going to need a recall, but he cannot use 2 spell. I mean, he's going to have to make sure he uses 1 recall if he does that, and the Vortex. And he's only going to have 1 Vortex available. If he decides to walk back instead, he will have 2. Here's the recall.
Recall, baby, and we're good to go. Now those Stargates are going to die. The Broodlord's just in a good position, but the army of Puzzle is getting ready. The War Prism spotted and taken down to the left, to the right. We just could see it explode on the screen, and now the Stargates, they are gone. The army of Puzzle, though, it's waiting.
Yeah. There's only 2 hatcheries left for Curious right now, but he's got the better army. He's using a lot of energy on his Infestors.
Curious is finally using this one base that we talked about, but now Puzzle is losing ground. He's actually supply blocked, and heavily at that.
I love the cautious play by Curious with his Broodlords. He never puts them too far forward to get bungled.
And this game, guys, started with a 6 pool.
Yep.
This match started with a 6 pool, and now a Nexus trying to be established at the right side of the map, and this is not going to work at all.
No, it's not. This is what Puzzle is going to be concerned about. But he will see, most importantly, that there's a hatchery there. So now he has to figure out how to deal with this.
And here comes the army. Look at this Infestor count, 23 of them. Here come the Changelings, spotting this army, having a good look at it.
He's using a lot of Infested Terran energy here, but it just doesn't matter. He's got so many Infestors. The Concave is going to be better here for Puzzle. 1 Neural ends Puzzle's chances of winning this game. That's all he needs, and he's got so many Infestors. How can Puzzle hope to engage this?
This is insane. This game is crazy. Curious. Puzzle is up for the last stand. He's in position at the bottom left. Curious wants to end this. 163 supply against 150 gateways being built for Puzzle. He's desperate here. Infestor Terrans for Curious. The Zerg player trying to get into position. Is the Neural ready? No! He doesn't get the Neural. He moves back. There is no Vortex.
And all the Corruptors are gone now.
The Corruptors are gone, but
double
so is
Vortex
the base.
available. Yeah, the base is gone. He's got very little pylons left. He's not going to be able to hang on like this much longer. I'm looking around the map, and I'm not finding any probes out there.
There's nothing, and here's the Vortex. He uses the Vortex still. No Neural Parasite, no nothing. The Mothership is still ready for action, but the Broodlord goes back.
He goes, he chases, and he catches some of the broods, but not all of them.
And now Puzzle has to go.
The Void Rays are still here. The Void Rays are the issue.
For good or worse, he has to commit and he's moving in. There's no energy on the Infestors. He doesn't have the energy. He moves into the Vortex. He's trying to take his opponent down. The army supply at this point. 80 against 80. Puzzle against Curious. Everything is dying here. And
he's got to pull those Void Rays back.
Oh my god, it looks like Curious has done it. Puzzle is down to 25 supply.
Well, he still has to deal with these Broodlords though, and he's using the Void Rays. There's not enough energy for Infested Terrans. He's actually going to pull these Broodlords back. This game's not over yet.
Look at the bank for Puzzle. He can actually build additional units. You're so right. He's trying to take down the buildings. Will the Void Ray be able to take down those Broodlords in time? He might actually win this.
He needs to send Lings around the map to actually kill the pylons that are out there, because there are a few more Protoss structures out there. Takes out the last of the Broodlords, and the Void Rays are the issue. 4 Spore Crawlers though on the way. He did get the Evolution Chamber. Curious still has a huge lead here, but this game is so crazy.
He has 2,000 minerals and gas, but he doesn't have a single probe.
Not one.
Not one. He needs more supply. He could warp in so many units. He could kill Curious, but now he's supply blocked. He can't build anything. This is insane.
Oh man, I don't know what happened to the DT that was on the map, but he should be using that to kill some of the units in the main, or some of the extractors in the main base of Curious, because the rest of the buildings will die. I don't think he can break through this though, and he's going to lose the Void Ray. I think Curious has actually done it.
Oh wow, they are gone. The Void Rays are gone. I cannot believe what we've seen. Curious, after starting with a 6 pool that has been so useless, he is going to win this game. He has the base, he has the mining, he has the Zerglings, the last few buildings at the bottom left. And if Puzzle would have saved 1 probe, only 1, he would have been able to take it.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh wow, what a match. 45 minutes of insanity.
Well, he is going to actually now kill this hatchery, but there's no way to kill the last final hatch. And Puzzle is not mining, Curious is mining. He's got the Infestor still on the map. Puzzle not willing to give up, but 1 Zergling alone is killing his gateways.
Yeah, the Zergling,
oh, wow.
The Stalker being warped in. That's the only supply. These 3 pylons, that's the only supply that he can use. No, he has a 4th one somewhere.
Well, he's trying to use these Infestors very carefully, but he knows that Puzzle can never kill him. Vortex does not work against Spore Crawlers, and he does not have...
Oh god, Wolf. He lost the Observer. He cannot see the burrowed Infestors. And the infestation bit for Curious is nearly done. He has only to build Infestors. That's the only thing he has to build. He can neural the Mothership. He can use the Infestor Terrans to take it down. There is no way at this point. As soon as the Mothership is neuraled, he can actually see anything, because the Mothership is going to cloak the Zerg units. And he doesn't have any detection. Nothing.
Yep. And he could try to go for the neural. Vortex actually catches the Infestors, but still, even without Infestors, he cannot kill these Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers.
24 supply is all that Puzzle has.
Here.
Moving in, and of course, with those Overseers, he sees it. Yes, more of those Stalkers are dying, but he needs Infestors, and that's what he builds. 6 of them.
And all the Infestors in the Vortex just came out untouched.
22 supply against 72. Puzzle is still hoping for a miracle.
It really is.
The Slayers player here against the Startail Zerg. They both want to go to the Asia Finals of the WCS, the World Championship Series.
Here
and here comes Curious.
And he wants to neural, but now he doesn't have enough energy.
He only needs to wait for energy with his Infestors. That's the only thing that he has to do. He's losing Infestors right now.
Fungals here. There's another Vortex.
Puzzle, this is of course the heat of the moment right now. We have all the information here, but Curious does not. He doesn't know that he just has to wait. Well, he kind of does. He actually sees all the building of his opponent.
He blinks into the spines. It's a mistake. He can rebuild Stalkers still.
15 Infestors now. And 3 additional ones being built. He just has to wait.
He's going to fungal, and that's going to end one of the Stalkers. And eventually, Puzzle's going to run out of resources. He's actually losing the pylons in his main base, so now he's got even fewer.
16 maximum supply. He's losing another one.
And this Mothership is going to go down. GG!